Hi, so I'm Matt McCormick. I'm the executive director of the Alignment Economy Foundation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, kind of modeled after the Linux Foundation, and we have an open source L1 that is really a peer-to-peer cash and universal basic income system. And we're achieving what Satoshi originally started of creating that peer-to-peer cash that folks actually use to buy things, as opposed to just holding, hoping the price goes up relative to dollars. So part of this presentation is to talk about how, as an ecosystem, we've been focused on the right problem, but so far we've had the wrong answer. And really, one of the ways we think about this is we've been doing this for about 15 years now as an ecosystem. We've got a large market cap. Wall Street's here, the government's here, it has legs, it's not going to die, but no one actually uses it to buy anything. And why is that? And we argue that there's two reasons this happens. There's kind of two paradoxes. The first is what we call first mover advantage, in that if you got into Bitcoin in 2013 and you held your coins and you didn't sell them, didn't buy things with them, you're doing very well, right? Your aunt, who in 2030 is going to look at Bitcoin and say, I'm not interested because it's a pyramid scheme, right? It feels like that to them. And so the same is true for basically every project that's started, whether it's Ethereum, Solana, et cetera. If you show up at the beginning, you're going to do much better than those that show up later. And that kind of disincentivizes adoption. The second paradox is deflation. So if fiat has inflation as a main challenge, a lot of cryptocurrencies have deflation. And that if you look at Bitcoin and all of its derivatives, you're better holding onto it and not buying stuff and hoping the price goes up relative to dollars. So that way you can increase your purchasing power, right? So many in the space are familiar with the Bitcoin pizza transaction, 10,000 Bitcoin for two pizzas. And basically everyone learned don't spend your Bitcoin, right? And so money that people spend isn't actually money. And so some will say, okay, what about stablecoins? And from my perspective at least, stablecoins are something where they do add value in that they're kind of rewiring, they're replumbing the banking system, right? This is happening with Wall Street and everything, but it is still very inflationary because it's pegged to a dollar that's going to lose value every year. And it's still centralized in that folks can freeze it kind of at will. So we're missing kind of the entire mission that Satoshi started, and we need to come up with some better solution. Part of the one of the ways to look at this too is that the challenges are getting worse and worse. So we have, okay, great, there's first mover advantage, there's, deflation, we know fiat has inflation. Why? Let's just keep humming along, right? The challenge is that we're seeing huge progresses in AI and robotics. And what's going to happen here is that as AI and robots get cheaper and companies have a fiduciary duty to make more profit, so they're going to be displacing workers. We're already seeing this where folks are getting laid off. It's really tough for a junior engineer to find jobs these days. This is going to be a bit like the COVID playbook, in that governments are going to be forced to spend money, print money, get it out there in the ecosystem. This is going to cause more inflation, and then workers are going to demand more money because cost of living has gone up, right? And so this is just going to be a vicious cycle that we're going to continue to. We're already in it. It's just going to get worse and worse. And from our perspective, AI is not really the problem. The scoreboard is, right? Like the broken scoreboard plus AI is going to be a crisis. If we get a right scoreboard with AI, we could really have some abundance here. So one of the ways we think about this too is how ecosystems and big traditional shifts happen, right? So if you think about transportation, pre-1886, the best way to get from point A to point B was with a horse. In 1886 was the first car kind of invented, or the horseless carriage, but it took decades, right, of tinkering, iteration before you got something like the Model T, where it really started moving towards, okay, this is actually like a mainstream thing that we have happening here, right? I would argue the same thing's happening with cryptocurrencies, and that, let's say 2009, it was all fiat mostly. That's what everyone used. This thing came out, Bitcoin. It's very revolutionary, very cool technology, but it's like the first car, right? It's only enthusiasts use it. It breaks down. People don't get it. Your aunt doesn't want to go ride in one, kind of thing, right? And we need to find that Model T of money. And so what we've built at the Alignment Economy has kind of three unique mechanisms that are combined together that are delivering what we believe is a solution here. So the first is that there are daily allocations. So every person, regardless of when they join, gets 1,440 points per day. That's how much attention you have every day. You have that many minutes per day. You can use it to watch TV and eat Doritos, or you can use it to go out and solve problems. The nice thing here is that if we do this where you get it every day, everyone gets it no matter who you are. If you join on day 10 or 10,000 days later, you're still getting the same amount every day. So this helps reduce the first mover advantage. If you give people points every single day, that's going to quickly cause inflation, right? So the second mechanism that we combine after this is rebasing, where we take the total number of points in the system and divide it out. So the actual number is going to go down, but your percent relative to all other accounts in the group stays the same. So if you had 1% of the points pre-rebase, there's a smaller pie, but you still have 1%. So your limits deflation and inflation throughout it. Excuse me. Now, if you give people points every day and you reduce the inflation deflation, you're going to get a lot of bots that are interested in signing up for this, right? People are going to try to attack this. And so this is one of the hardest, if not the hardest problem in computer science, deciding if something is a bot or a human. There are lots of people that have tried this and failed. We are not expecting to solve this. We don't believe it's actually solvable. But what we do believe is that we can solve it in a way that it's useful, right? It's like an arms race, and that if we can win that arms race and be slightly ahead or at least very close to where the AI and bots and computer and scammers are, we'll be able to decide, okay, for every account that's getting these daily allocations, is it a human? Is it a bot? And in the white paper, there's a whole kind of walkthrough of how we plan on doing this, and also like a court and arbitration system to really close accounts that are bots and keep the human ones open and alive and going. So in terms of what we're doing here, we've got a pretty good start. We've got the white paper, we've got the website, we've got some code here on GitHub. It's all open source because, again, we're a nonprofit foundation. We really see this as something that needs to be built to the world to create some money that folks are actually going to use. And our goal right now is to raise some cash here to give the team, let's say, at least a year of runway to be able to finalize the code, get it launched, get it up and running. So thank you for the time, and please reach out with any questions.